Hello, fellow students. This is Professor Jag or Jag the Professor. Receive an extended welcome from your professor. Make sure that you are officially enrolled in this class. If not, I'm going to have to let you go, okay? And every week we're going to have this series of video lectures for your benefit. We also have supplementary PowerPoint presentations to the very bottom left of every week, okay? And you could go ahead and click on them, and if you want to go ahead and work at your own pace with the notes, it's okay. Now, let's see. For the first week, we're going to do Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. So this first part is Chapter 1, and Chapter 1 is on the sociological perspective, okay? Now, it's an introduction to sociology, right? I want to go ahead and set some parameters, and some of the parameters that I want to set has to do with the goals for this first part of the lecture. And some of the goals are to differentiate between the study of macro versus the study of micro sociology, to study the theoretical perspectives in relation to macro versus micro sociology, to list the fathers and mothers of sociology and know their contributions. Terms that I would like you for this first week to get familiar with is the sociological perspective, the sociological imagination, and the definition for sociology. What is sociology? Well, Jack, I have my own ample interpretation of sociology. I have 2 paragraphs, that pretty much defined and explain sociology. So this is what I have gathered over the years, and now I'm giving it to you, okay? Now, the 5 fathers of sociology, Jack's 5 fathers of sociology are Karl Marx, Max Weber, Emile Durkheim, Herbert Spencer, and Auguste Comte. So we acknowledge these sociologists to be important in studying the formation or edification of sociology. We recognize these scientists as the 5 fathers of sociology. Now, were there other sociologists? Yes, there were other sociologists that have definitely made major contributions. But these 5 fathers are Jack's fathers of sociology. And here you have a little very brief slide, a couple of slides for each of the fathers of sociology. You could either press pause if you have that feature, or you could go to the PowerPoint presentations and at your own pace read the information or the content that you have there. But the one that I want to make most reference to is Karl Marx. And Karl Marx, definitely what comes to mind is are themes like socialism, conflict theory, conspiracy theory. Those are themes that come to mind, and therefore I have developed a couple of caricatures. And these caricatures will allow you to see a little bit more about Karl Marx, will allow you to know a little bit more about Karl Marx. Now, this is not to make fun of Karl Marx. This is actually to go ahead and explain a point that I want to make about Karl Marx. Here's the first one. Workers of the world untie. What do you think it means? Go ahead and call me right now. Let me know. I'm just kidding you. You don't have to call me right now. You don't even have to email me. Here's another one, okay? Karl Marx for dummies. This is my interpretation of this slide. When China sneezes, America catches the cold. Okay, here's another good slide. 2 people of different epochs pretty much saying the same thing. What do you think? Now, I mean, you may have your own interpretation. I have my very own. Here's another one from Nicaragua. It's a stamp. It's Centenario de la Muerte de Carlos Marx. In English translated, what it means, century commemorating Karl Marx's death, pretty much. But their contributions overall are important to mention. Karl Marx, politics, economics, social class. Max Weber, Emile Durkheim. To the right of this screen, you have the major contributions or main contributions. Not all of the contributions, but main contributions. Other social sciences to be accredited to the formation of sociology are in the fields of economics, politics, religion, anthropology. These are fields that have helped sociology to become the field and the social science that it is today. However, we must also acknowledge other fathers, other people, other sociologists that have done major contributions. People like W.E.B. Du Bois, Harriet Martineau, Jane Addams, Margaret Fuller, and their studies in race and ethnicity, politics, women's rights, feminism, women's studies. These fathers and mothers of sociologists speak for the minority group members, and they are definitely people we will acknowledge and revere. But now, talking about the study of sociology, we have to talk about macro versus micro. And macro sociology versus micro sociology are 2 main, very different areas of sociology, two different approaches. Macrosociology is an approach that analyzes societies, social institutions, or populations at large scale, right? Now, microsociology is one of the main branches of sociology which concerns itself with the nature of everyday human interaction, socialization, social statuses, roles. Macrosociologically, when we analyze society, we use two main theories: functionalist perspective and conflict theorist perspective, while microsociology uses symbolic interactionist perspective. Okay, so now what is the first one of the two for macrosociology is functionalism, or structural functionalism is another word. And here are some of the principles of functionalism. Functionalism is rooted in the writings of Spencer, Durkheim, and the work of scholars like Parsons and Robert Merton. Functionalism views society as as a system of highly interrelated structures or parts. And so for functionalists, society is a living organism, and this living organism, it's composed of social institutions. Okay, here's a visual of social institutions. You have family, education, you have religion, you have economics, politics. These are social institutions, and you see them with arrows pointing at the others, right? They are interrelated in the same way that the human body is interrelated. All the organs are somehow interrelated. Functionalist perspective, there's another good visual. Now, the family is in the middle. Why do you think the family is in the middle and the other ones are outer layers? Because, the family is the most important. Now, here's one of my best and preferred visuals. The human body compared to society, because both are living organisms. And the social institutions are living organisms of society in the same way that the heart and the lungs. Now, conflict theory, not as opposed but different than functionalist perspective, conflict theory studies and analyzes group competition. So if the functionalists view illegal immigration, for example, as a function to the economics of society, conflict theory would not view it that way. It would view it as competition to the already existing groups in society. Themes like rich versus poor, male versus female, are common themes. Okay, and these themes have to, of course, to do with identifying an oppressor and identifying an oppressed group. Right, pretty much this is the talk of conflict theory, and it's conspiracy theory, really. And the way I see it is conspiracy theory. Conflict theory sees society as constantly changing in response to social inequality. So, I have a visual for conflict theory. See if this makes sense to you. You have the five institutions that we use, same five institutions that we use in functionalist perspective, perceived from a conflict theorist perspective, are like these institutions are used as mechanisms of oppression against minority groups. No longer talking about macro sociology, but micro sociology, we use symbolic interactionism. Here are some of the principles of symbolic interactionism. The meaning that people place on their own and another's behavior can vary. Most of what people do has meaning beyond the concrete act. So, society for symbolic interactionists is it's the reality between the interaction between one and one. It's not studying large groups of people. It's not studying competition, but just one-on-one, face-to-face interaction. Socialization is an important component of society then. Whoa, this has been enough for today. Thank you very much. Again, this is Professor Jag, or Jag the Professor. Tune to the second part of this first week lecture. Thank you very much.